So, one of the major concerns people have about Tesla and why they're not investing in Tesla is the belief that the competition is coming. Now, related to this, people also cannot see how Tesla will be able to become bigger than they are now unless they think Tesla produces a cheaper, compact car. Without this, many think that Tesla will never get to 20 million cars per year by 2030. So it's a good thing Alex Voigt is with us today. So, as I mentioned, Alex is a very well known and respected voice in the Tesla community. He provides detailed analysis, forecasts, and updates on progress of the Gigafactories, but also all the other auto manufacturer competitors, both internal combustion and electric vehicles. So, Alex, let's start with a tweet that you have pinned on your profile where you have a write up on Tesla becoming the largest company in the world. Tell us more with that. What a great topic. Tell me what you thought you were thinking.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Herbert. Yeah, I mean, I'm a production engineer by education. I worked about 20 years in the production industry and in mass production. So that helps me a little bit better, helps me a little bit to understand Tesla better than I believe a lot of people who just jump into that. And I counted in about 100 production facilities from the inside out, lead from the people who've managing them. So I learned a ton, which helps me to compare a little bit what I see. For instance, when I've been at GigaBerlin twice. So what you've been just showing was my last article, which is going to be open to the public to read very, very soon. It's a moment right on my Patreon account here. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to express there is if we add all what we know together in terms of where Tesla stands right now, in terms of the product lineup and what is coming, I just don't see how they can, if they just don't fall about their own feet, how they can miss to become the biggest company in the world.
Mhm.
I do not put a year on that statement, obviously, because I don't know when. But we have, I mean, and Elon's been saying this quite often in terms of the lineup, that this is a company with the best product lineup in the world, and I believe he's right. And I'm, looking into other companies all the time in terms of robotics, in terms of artificial intelligence solutions like autonomous driving, in terms of vehicles and battery electric vehicles, and you name it, obviously. And I don't see any other company being set up in such a perfect way. So at the moment, it's really more or less straight execution. And on this path, there are going a lot of issues. There are going to be problems. For instance, the Cybertruck, right? So there's a lot of new technology in there, and with this exoskeleton, with this huge casting, this 9,000-ton press, and all this new technology is bringing risks, and there are going to be problems, there are going to be delays, and you name it. All of that will happen. So we're going to have in the future a lot of drama with Tesla ongoing. So be prepared for that. But if you look at the setup in terms of that Tesla is simply more or less two products right now with this Model 3 and Model Y. I mean, yes, there's the S and X, but it's small numbers and it will continue to be small numbers. So we have this year probably around 800 or 760,000 to 800,000 delivered Model Ys already globally. And next year it's definitely gonna be more than 1 million, and probably it's going to be next year already the best selling model in the entire year 2023. We have to realize the margins are going up like crazy, and all this cash that Tesla creates allows them to expand pretty nicely without any problems in terms of financing. They are pretty independent in what they are doing already today in the recession we are in the high inflation situation we are in, where a lot of other automakers see problems with demand already or with supply in terms of semiconductors and other issues. Tesla is way more vertical integrated, way more independent, and has a lot of more flexibility to overcome issues. And we've seen this in the past, right? So a lot of people have been saying they are never going to make the numbers they've been showing there, and they still did, And if we, I mean, you mentioned the compact car, for instance, which also has been mentioned in the last earnings call, which is
Mhm.
definitely a cornerstone and very important part of it. And what most people overlook is the cost leadership of Tesla. And this is what
Mhm.
I've been trying to express in this article. So it's not only about having a great product that everybody wants. It has a lot to do with being able to reduce the costs over time faster than the industry can. And Tesla has proven that not only with batteries but also with production technology. So why is that so important? It's simply a key step and cornerstone in terms of bringing a new mass vehicle out there, which I believe will be, and he described it, a smaller, more affordable car for good fit for European cities, which are much tighter than in the US, for let's say 25,000 US dollars. And if they can produce it for 18,000, 20,000 US dollars, you're still going to have a very healthy margin and profit on each car, which allows the company to further expand, and you really allocate factory capacity to this vehicle too. I fully agree that the Model 3 and Model Y are, if you look at them, still pretty expensive cars. It's a lot of money you need to pay for such a car, and a lot of people just can't afford it. That's gonna change with a $25,000 car, and I believe that Tesla's even plans to go below of that. And why are they able to do that? Well, it has a lot to do with Elon's first principle approach in terms of producing something, thinking out of the box and new from scratch. And he has the advantage as a founder and literally owner of Tesla to be able to take risks other companies and other managers just don't dare to, because they know they're gonna leave in 4 years anyhow. So if you add all of that together, and I'm just talking about the auto business here, and there's gonna be Tesla Energy, and we know that the shortage we had in batteries is lifting step by step. So there's a plan to have the batteries, industry batteries, stationary batteries for your homes growing as quickly and as big as the automotive business, which is amazing itself. Most people discount this to zero. Then we have the full self-driving business, which is a huge market and will make open up a completely new segment and industry and possibility to sell on a very different level. Most people just discount this to zero too. And then last not least, we have Optimus Prime. And here we have a very unique situation that we really talk about labor, and Tesla is addressing a market nobody has addressed before in terms of having robots they can sell not only to industries but later on also to normal consumers like you and me. And that market alone is going to be, I believe, bigger than the entire market I described before.
Yeah.
So again, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a ton of issues. It's going to be a long path. We're talking about decades here. There are going to be problems right and left to solve. But I have confidence with the team that they are able to do that. And it's only a question of time until they grow to a size no other company has been before. So this is very impressive and exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very, very bullish, just like I am, but you're including the bot, the energy, the solar, FSD,
Yeah.
and we should, because I think that they are on their way. But let's just get back to just the car business alone and their path to 20 million. You were saying earlier that the efficiency of the manufacturing is something that people they get it, they hear it, but they kind of still don't give it the credence that it really deserves. You are very close and you watch closely these gigafactories. Specifically, you watch GigaBerlin being developed. And now you just had a recent tweet as well showing that I think you've confirmed that they've expanded as well, or they've gotten another 500,000 capacity. Can you talk a little bit about the efficiency of these manufacturing gigafactories? And then from there, I want to understand, how do you see the road to 20 million? you think alluded that you said that you do think that they will need to have a compact car. And if it is something that they need to have, when will that come out? Given that they have not yet announced a new factory, although they have announced that they have been working on the design. What's your thoughts on where would that factory be, by the way? Go ahead.
So, yeah, a lot of very important points here. So, in terms of efficiency, what the factories are doing, we should remember that
Mm.
Tesla is building the factories from scratch, right? So every factory is kind of a new build, so they have the ability really to grow them successfully and to design them in a new way. And in terms of productivity, we all know that, for instance, Volkswagen, they said that in a Tesla factory for Model 3, it's a 10-hour time frame they need to build a Model 3, while within a
Yeah.
VW factory it's 30. So 3 times. And this is like outlandish. This is for someone who worked as an engineer in a production environment. This is totally crazy. And Tesla doesn't stop here, and we know all that, so they continue to build and to grow on that. So this is Model 3 and Model Y, and I believe that the demand and market opportunity for this segment is extremely big. So right now we already have an installed capacity of around 2 million vehicles per year, and I believe they can grow this to 3 or 4 million in this environment. If you think about the Cybertruck, we know that there's 1 million in terms of orders, and you can argue what kind of real orders at the end of the day are really there, but definitely we talk about hundreds of thousands of vehicles to be sold every year. And you know better than I do, the truck market in the US is extremely big. So there's a huge portion which will go in this product lineup in terms of exoskeleton, because I believe there's going to be also a market for a smaller exoskeleton vehicle. And if we think about a smaller form factor, more affordable, $25,000, I was also thinking about Tesla already works with a large press in Texas and Austin, building this up and using that for the Cybertruck. But Elon's plan all the time has been, or dream, to cast a vehicle out of one piece. And I
Yeah.
believe this is still his dream. I'm not sure whether this will ever work because it's extremely ambitious. But Elon is a visionary and he has ideas and thoughts and dreams, and he's following this dream. So I wouldn't rule it out that this works. That probably would cut the cost of a vehicle dramatically, another 20% easily. So what I'm trying to say here is there are levers, there are options, there are opportunities out there nobody really thinks about, which can even bring Tesla beyond that. And if you listen to me saying, okay, the market for Model 3, Model Y is maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 million, maybe even more, the market for a compact car is going to be much bigger. So if not double that size. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a market, for 5, 6, 7 million small compact BEVs globally. Yeah. So if you add all of that together, and you know that this year there should be an announcement for another Gigafactory, and you look what they do with the existing installed base. I mean, take a look at Shanghai. Nobody had expected that they are growing the output that dramatically. We know that there's a team from Shanghai now active in Fremont. I've been surprised about Fremont pushing out much more vehicles than anybody expected. And now they have a
Mhm.
new team there helping the existing team to push this even further, which is amazing. In Berlin, we just got today actually the official confirmation from the community authorities that the second phase for GigaBerlin will include another 500,000 vehicles. So the first phase was already a million. And in the very early first papers, I've seen that there are going to be 4 phases. So the speculation have been that it's going to be 2 million total output, total capacity. But Tesla won't stop there. there's one thing to install a capacity of 500,000. There's another thing in terms of improving the efficiency and the output of that space you have. So yes, you have limitations in terms of water, in terms of energy and other things, supply for producing that amount. But phase one is just Model Y. I believe phase two in Berlin is going to be Model 3. I may be
Okay.
mistaken, but I believe that's going to be Model 3 because the demand for Model 3 in Europe is quite high. And I wouldn't be surprised if they easily sell, 2 million vehicles just from GigaBerlin into Europe. And we already see today that from GigaBerlin, we have exports to South Korea, right? So think about that. I mean, there are a lot of markets which are just waiting for supply, who just didn't get anything. And you can make the math as good as I can do. If you add all of this together, you're getting very close to 20 million vehicles a year. And you probably also remember that Elon once said that Tesla is going to have a model in each segment, which includes van, which includes different forms of trucks, probably buses. I mean, you have so many
Okay.
open field here, right?
So I got two questions then. For first of all, I wanted to get your guess of which gigafactory will be creating the compact car. And then two, very intriguing, something some of us haven't yet thought about, which is, we all know that Elon wants to have a single casting, but does that then mean that it's not going to be a mini Cybertruck, right? Because it's stainless steel outer exoskeleton that you can't do a single casting. And then we've also heard that this new compact car platform that they're developing, it is dedicated robotaxi is what they're designing. But if it's robotaxi is not ready, then would they have a variant of it that is going to be the the compact car that they'll sell? And then they said it's a platform. So this is going to be something that they can have many variants, as you were saying, beyond just the compact car. So what's your guesses? Is it going to be a stainless steel exterior, or no, it's going to be like a one stamp thing? Yeah.
So the new platform is gonna be a new level. That's gonna be very different to the production as we've seen it with Model 3, Model Y, S and X, which in terms of production are done in a pretty similar way and still traditional way. If we think about the Cybertruck with the exoskeleton, totally new approach, a new platform, and the compact car is having another platform. That's my understanding. So we have at the
Okay.
moment then 3 platforms already, which gives Tesla a lot of opportunity in terms of improvement. So I'm really excited about that, and a lot of problems. So don't get me wrong, not everything is fantastic. They're gonna have a lot of challenges and issues, probably a lot of delays, and we're gonna have a lot of drama, which is just a part of Tesla. I agree to your assessment in terms of robotaxis. So I all the time was thinking about whether it wouldn't be attractive for Tesla to have, on that platform, 2 lines up. One line up for the robotaxi itself, which is probably driven by Tesla itself and not by external people, and another line that they sell to consumers, and they can use them for their own small taxi company with 2, 3 cars or more, and Tesla is buying them back after 2 years, or they even keep the ownership and just lease them. We don't know. I mean, there are a lot of options and possibilities Tesla can play with, which is, by the way, another thing a lot of people just don't get. With the expansion of Tesla and all of these areas, they get more and more leverage and opportunities to design the market to their own will. The cash they have, the profit, and this product lineup gives them a lot of options designing markets, which no other company can do. They just can try to get a good BEV out, and this is what they're trying right now all the time. And I mean, I wouldn't say they fail. The BEVs we've been seeing from a lot of companies are getting better and better, which is great. But the gap between what Tesla is heading for and what we've seen from traditional automakers is still really, really very big. And in between that gap, I see some Asian companies sneaking in. step by step. So as a German, I wouldn't say fearful, but I'm still very concerned about our industry here in Germany in terms of catching up and doing the right things, because they just repeat what they've been doing before. But going back to Tesla, I see with the exoskeleton, also with the new platform for the compact car, a ton of cost improvements. Um, and it's not gonna go easy. So you've been asking twice already now on this call where this gonna be. So um, with this new technologies, you need less space in order to produce a high production, mass production vehicle. So nevertheless, let's put it like that. In terms of the perfect market, you probably talk more about Europe first, because small cars
Hmm.
are in urgent need here, and people are just used to small cars that and models that you in the US you just don't know them. They just never show up in the US. Uh, so therefore, the perfect market would be in the US. But just looking at the space for, we have this GigaBerlin and Giga Texas in Austin. I mean, it could be in each of them. You could start in parallel, even if you like, right? So there's no reason not to do it. Would there be a factory where you just and only produce compact cars, which would be another option, right? So if they announce, for instance, this year a new Gigafactory, it could be for the compact car, and it could be a new location, Mexico or you name it. Some people are speculating it's Canada, Mexico, and I mean there are a lot of countries and discussions here where this could happen. And you obviously could just take an entire factory just for the compact car, which is also an approach you can go for. But what I can say is, from conversations I have with people within Tesla, what I've learned is that they are often not that far along with the thought process and decision process as we think. So what I'm trying to say here is, I doubt that Tesla already has made a decision on all of these questions. So, and they probably decide pretty short term before how they do that. Yes, there is a long supply chain you need to set up and manage everything and structure. But with each additional factory, gigafactories they have around the globe, they have more flexibility in terms of manage their supply chain in a way that for such a new compact car production facility, they have the right people and the right team and the right supply in place. Um, so I would be very surprised if Tesla has made a decision already,
Mhm.
if they do a compact car and where.
The one thing I don't necessarily buy into and agree with what you were saying is that there could be three different platforms, right? One for the X and Y, one for the Cybertruck, and one for this new platform that's going to have multi-variant, starting first with the with compact car. It just doesn't seem that's a smart thing to do. And so I'm playing around with this idea that, is there a way that they can use the Cybertruck as the model? Because Cybertruck is supposed to be cheaper to manufacture already, and that's one of the reasons why they did that. But then, does that go against the single stamp logic that you were saying? Is there a way to just use Cybertruck model, miniaturize it, create multiple variants of it, and have the single stamp, or is just this? No, that's why you're saying it's got to be a separate platform.
So if you want to de-risk uh, the, uh, the production future, you better go with the third platform, because
Hmm.
the Cybertruck is gonna be not easy to produce. It's like most brilliant ideas from Elon. It's hard to accomplish. Once you manage it and you are able to scale up, it's gonna be the best of all worlds. But to go to that point is dramatically hard. So you would bet everything on one horse. Um, and the second reason why I'm a little bit reluctant or careful here is, um, with the exoskeleton of the Cybertruck, you have the holding structure on the outside, and that's creating a lot of questions around safety, street safety, in particular in Europe, where I see the biggest market for the compact car. I mean, don't get me wrong, there will be a market in the US and Asia too for for a small vehicle, but I wouldn't be surprised if the biggest market is even in Europe here.
Mhm.
And if you go with the exoskeleton structure for Europe for a compact car, which will be cheap, you're right, or low cost, you probably gonna bump in a lot of regulatory issues. So it's not gonna be easy to get approval from regulators for that car, simply because the street safety regulation is pretty strict in terms of pedestrians and cyclists and all of that. So and you know, as I know, if you have a Cybertruck, you bump into a house. I mean, the house is broken, but your car has no
And it's
scratch,
fine.
right? So that's that's how it is, and it's you can change a little bit here and there, but at the end of the day, it's a vehicle that is that's a better fit, to be honest, for the US and also actually for the rest of the world and other markets, including China and Asian markets. But in Europe, in the small streets, it's gonna be tough even to find a parking spot for that thing,
Yeah.
because it's so big. So that's my thought process. I may be wrong. It's just my thoughts, and I believe Tesla would be better off to indeed have a third platform. I
Okay.
agree. I mean, every additional platform is coming with additional cost, with additional complexity in terms of supply chain, production, you name it. So it's adding cost on the bottom line. There's no doubt about that. On the other side, if you want to have a fleet of robotaxis, you don't want that this is a fleet with cars people consider as a danger to pedestrians and cyclists and all of that. So, and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
I think I'm agreeing with you now because one of the things about this third platform is that it's going to be a multivariate. It's just a platform. They're going to create probably that
yeah.
bus, mid-size minibus that you're talking about, a compact car, and any number of different modular kind of model. He talked about that. So the part that I'm so very confused about is whether or not it's going to be a robo taxi, a dedicated robo taxi, or it's going to be a drivable car. Because at when you listen to them, they've basically been doubling down on this dedicated robo taxi. They announced at the Giga Texas party that they've already started this dedicated robo taxi design. It'll come out next year. They just in the roadmap it says dedicated robotaxi, but then I thought recently at the third quarter Q3 earnings report they did talk about a platform for the compact car that's going to be half the cost, half the factory space, and it'll be a platform. So, what's your take on this? Is it going to be both, right? And kind of a robotaxi design, but also something you can just quickly turn into a compact car, or is it going to be just this is going to be a line of robotaxis, and they're just going to bet on this?
So being in their shoes now, I'm not luckily, because that would create a lot of stress. I would do a platform where you have two models on it. One is more a bus, a van, which you can use, which is a robot taxi. So you have more space. It's spacey inside. You have all the beauty you have of a driverless car. So you can design it. I mean, you know all those concepts, right? So you can design it really dedicated to robot taxi situation where people can enjoy watching a video or whatever when they drive, doing their working on their laptop and you name it, just really spacey inside. And you want to have the ability to transport a few people in there, right? A compact car is different, right? So it's going to be small, as Elon said, smaller as Model 3 or Model Y in terms of size. So therefore, it's going to have a different form factor. So therefore, I would vote, or I think they are thinking about creating these two models on one new platform. And again, this is separate from Cybertruck, so this is not going to have an exoskeleton. I would be surprised if they go that path. But maybe I'm wrong and we will see. It's just all speculation. We all don't know, right?
Okay. This does make sense now. I think that what I'm going to change my mind on is that what I think they're going to do is what you just said, right? A dedicated robotaxi, but it's going to be more of this bus-like thing. And it probably the first market might be something like Vegas, where the city approves it and it'll take you from the airport to the casinos. It'll drive you around that area and maybe, of course, go down through the tunnels as well. That makes sense. They have an initial market. They would take that and sell it city by city. But then this idea of a compact car will be something that they will sell. Huge market in the US, huge market in Europe. He's already said that it's going to be even more, like double or more than the current lineup that they have now. So that sounds like something that they'll introduce a couple of years from now, right? It's even after the robotaxi. Now, if robotaxi starts to work and it starts to be sold, then they can create variants of that model as well. But yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen. I'm very, very excited.
Well,
This is like the coolest thing.
I mean, 2030 is 80 years from now, which sounds a lot, but it isn't if you're in the auto
Yeah.
business. So I think they really need to expand very quickly, also in terms of this new technologies. But I believe Tesla has everything they need to do that. So they definitely
Yeah.
can accomplish it. And, you know, nobody will nail them on 20 million vehicles. If they make 15 million vehicles, even 10 million, it's gonna be breathtaking, right? Already. So, and, but the market is definitely there. If you add the numbers together, usually end up with 20 million vehicles. And the other point is having a robotaxi fleet out there is creating a leverage that we haven't seen before, simply because the money you make with a robotaxi fleet, simply because you have no driver, you do not need one, you're gonna have a revenue inflow that is you know, a few times that what you would expect from selling a car. So you need to ask yourself as a company if you really want to sell them later on to consumers or use them as a robotaxi if it really works. And I believe it will work. We've seen already full self-driving better really developing nicely. It still can take a long time. We do not know to get the last kinks out here. So we've seen it in the past, you know, that parts that they thought's gonna be easy they've been hard. In other areas, they manage quicker than expected. But I'm very confident that they are going to manage that. So the robotaxi is kind of tied to full self-driving development, right? So it depends how good the software development is going. And this is probably also a question that they have, because they can't say in half a year, you know, we managed it, we did it, it works, we can get it out, and the regulators are going all approving it, which is another hurdle to overcome. In the US, we hope it's going to be
Yeah.
more easy than in Europe, but we don't know. I mean, if they say, even if they say, okay, looks nice, but you know, not yet. You have to drive a year with these cars on the street and prove with the data that this is really safe. In that situation, you do not want to have a factory ready to produce hundreds of thousands of the things when you can't use them. It doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah.
you see there's a lot of trade-offs and decisions within Tesla, I believe, a lot of question marks how to manage it. And again, I would be extremely surprised if they have an answer today on all of these questions for the future.
Well, I'm getting excited. What I think is going to happen, I think you're absolutely correct. They need to be careful, and there's going to have plan A's and plan B's. But what I think is going to happen is they have created a platform, and this platform probably is going to create multiple variants, of which one is going to be robotaxi, one is going to be the compact car, and one is all these other different variations of the theme. I'm very curious what this platform is going to look like, how it's going to be modularized, and how that's going to be able to be creating half the cost to produce these kinds of cars. So that is something I'm looking forward to, and really, really appreciate your thoughts today and advice. Everybody, as I mentioned, please follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_AVOIGT. He has a Patreon, worth it, absolutely worth it. He's got incredible detailed analysis on newsletters that you get received before everyone else. And what he does is he covers not only Tesla, but all the other EV industry and other car manufacturers as well. So very unique in the industry. Thanks again, Alex. Really appreciate your time. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Herbert. It was a pleasure being here and great to have the opportunity to chat with you. Thank you.
Thanks.